Hello, Globetrotters. How are you all? So exciting to be here. We've had a bit of a gap in masterclasses just because we've been traveling, but I'm glad to be back. And this topic about Western rides, not only in North America, but all around the world, was suggested by our lovely sales colleague, Andrew, who sits over in Canada and speaks to all of our Globetrotters over there. So pumped to talk to you about Western rides in North America, but also further afield. So I'm going to go through our rides around the world that specifically have Western tack or a derivative of. And then at the end, we're going to open up to Q&A. And that Q&A you can write your questions in the chat or in the Q&A box. Amy and Rowena can answer any questions as I'm presenting. But if you have a question about anything, it doesn't necessarily have to be about this topic, please put it in the chat and I'm going to try really hard to answer it. And if I can't answer it, we'll definitely get an answer for you offline. Supportive saddle with a horn and a high cantle, loose rein, neck reining. So not like English where you have direct rein contact. The horse obviously moves away from pressure from the rein on their neck, and it's been developed by riders working with livestock. Can Western rides cater to all abilities? That's a resounding yes. So from beginner to advanced, there's a ride for you. You do not need prior Western riding experience, tickety tick. What kind of riding is available? So obviously with these rides that I'm going to go through today, there is many versions of being able to ride in a Western saddle or a similar saddle to that, where you can stay on a ranch, you can do cattle work, pack trips, beach rides, natural horsemanship, trail rides, camping, luxury. So yeah, let's go dive in to the rides that we have on offer. All right, USA, the home of the Western saddle, which is so cool. So we have Shell, Wyoming and Helena, Montana. Both of these rides are based at the ranch, and you ride out each day in a different, cloverleaf pattern. And then the Grand Tetons Ride Wyoming, that is a pack horse trip. And then the Bighorn Cattle Drive Wyoming is where you work cattle and you're moving cattle every day. That is also phenomenal in Western saddles. And then finally, a ride in Alaska, which is our newest ride, is very exciting because that's Alaska. Like, who doesn't want to go to Alaska? Laura road tested this ride in June, July this year, and we have been looking for a ride in Alaska forever, and finally found it. I think there's only 3 saddle seats left, but Rowie or Amy can put a link to the Alaska ride in the chat because, it is one of the final frontiers of riding destinations, 100%, and just pristine wilderness and wildlife. Moving to Canada, which is very cool. That is going to be the Rocky Mountains ride in Alberta. This is a pack horse trip, and this is particular photo of that ride. I mean, look at the scenery. It's absolutely breathtaking. Banff Border Ride. We launched this ride probably 2 months ago, and it sold out. Absolutely lightning fast. I think it was a combination of the price point and the duration, because I know that a lot of people don't get much holiday time. So keep an eye out and wait list on that ride if that's something that you would like to do for 2027. Also, you can wait list for rides, and then if there's a cancellation, you'll be notified, so you can jump on that. Our Whistler Wilderness Ride, which is really close to Whistler, very good price point, and then a ride up in Chilco Lake in British Columbia. So Canada is the home of the Western saddle as well. So if you feel at home in that type of riding style, then definitely, have on your radar Canada. All right. And then Mexico, which is also, we road tested this ride in December last year. And it is 100% Western. What I love about this ride is it's custom. It's open all year round. It caters from beginner to advanced riders, and it's a very good price point. I highly recommend riding in spring, because seeing this photo here, you are literally riding like the rolling hills of wildflowers. It's beautiful. And this is the type of saddle that you get to ride in. Poppy, I think she was 6 at that stage, literally love this saddle. The horn is horrendously big, amazing. So, there was no way she was going to fall out of that saddle. Right. And would you probably not expect it, but we have a Western ride in Dartmoor, England, which is so cool. So if a lot of our rides in Scotland, Ireland, and England are all in English saddles, but this ride particular is in a Western saddle, and you move cattle on the moors in England. It is, again, intermediate to advanced. It's available from May to September, so they're summer and spring, and incredibly well priced. And we do have availability on that ride for next year, which is super exciting. So yes. Next one. All right. So now, very exciting. I'm going to go into all our Western rides equivalent around the world that we have road tested. So similar derivative of saddles, loose rein, neck reining, and often connected with cattle cultures. So Argentina, one of my most favorite places in the whole entire world. It's actually where I fell in love with the sort of art of globetrotting and horse cultures. So the Patagonia Trail, which is in the southern part of Argentina, you're riding in gaucho tack. I'll show you a photo of that in just a second. Intermediate to advanced. If you get vertigo, this is not the ride for you. You are literally crawling up mountains and going on cliff edges, and it's exhilarating. They're in the southern hemisphere, so their ride season is from November to February, and that price is $7,175 US, and you will want for nothing: red wine, meat, food, and you're moving from A to B. You'll be riding up with the condors, the Criollo horses, which is the oldest quarter horse breed in the world, is the breed of horse that you ride. And look at these saddles. Like, there will be no chafing in that saddle. I can 100% assure you that. Like, it is next level. And then the other Argentinian ride is the Terra del Fuego ride. It's directly translated to the Land of Fire. And that's also an Argentinian gaucho tack, intermediate to advanced, January to February. You're moving from A to B, which is awesome. If you love your point-to-point ride, we like to call it a journey, where you're moving with purpose, then this is also a brilliant ride to have on your list. Corrientes, Argentina. I'm going back there. It's the second time in 2 years. I generally don't retrace my steps, but this ride is a crowd favorite for our family. We love it. Why? Because there's two options. You can stay at the Estancia and you ride out each day, or they have the Estancia to Estancia ride, where you ride from one Estancia to the next and you're with a herd of 20 horses. Either is beautiful. The scenery is these water meadows that you're riding through, and it caters from beginner to advanced. So if you have a partner that's a beginner rider, or if you have a friend that's of different ability, it's perfect. Open all year round, incredibly well priced. It's like tick, tick. So definitely put that ride on your radar. And then our Sierra Chicas ride in Argentina also. So that's beginner to advance. You stay in their opulent estancia and you ride out each day. And you also can do custom dates, which is perfect if you're only wanting to do 3 or 4 nights or 7 nights. So all of these rides are on our website just by filtering under Argentina. We have a ride in Italy that does Western saddles. This ride is run by Patrick and Gio. They are the most beautiful hosts. We've been working exclusively with them for probably 3 years now. They have 2 types of itineraries, the Tuscan Trail and the Tuscan Escape. The difference between the two is the duration. So one's 4 days, one's 7 days. Look at this scene. I mean, honestly, you're riding through olive groves. You're riding along the beaches. You are eating the most amazing Italian food. You're staying in a beautiful manor house of theirs, and then they float the horses to different destinations, and you are combing the stunning places of Tuscany under a Tuscan sun. It's beautiful. You have to do this ride. It is amazing, very well priced, sells out lightning fast, just because it is the perfect blend of what we call a globetrotting ride. Camargue, France. I'm going back there in October. This is heady with horse culture. You're riding the Camargue horses, which is a photo here, which are the traditional native bred horses in the Camargue region. And you're riding alongside Les Gardiens, which are the Camargue cowboys. and you work the Camargue black bulls as part of their culture. It is, you're staying again in a really well-appointed manor house with phenomenal French food. Like you eat cheese between courses. Like it is. So that is October to November. It has a very short season, and it's like a wetland. It is beautiful. Again, it is centre-based. We do have our dates for 2026 available for this ride, and I'm going to show you a photo of the saddles. Very comfortable. Similar type Western saddle. So that, you know, is calling to you, then definitely put your hand up for this ride. It is beautiful. Now, closer to home, so the Snowy River Ride Australia. I'm not sure if any of you heard of The Man from Snowy River, a very famous movie, but originally was a poem. This ride echoes that movie in terms of the snow guns and the scenery. It is camping. And it is through November to March, and you're riding in our Australian stock saddles, which you'll feel very much at home. I'll show you a photo of. That's a swinging fender stock saddle, super comfy, neck reined, the horses. This is camping, rustic. You get really into the bush, like the Australian native bush, and it is stunning. You will not regret doing this ride. And then our other ride is completely on the other side, which is the Margaret River Ride. This is Paul, one of our amazing ride partners. And you're on Australian stock saddles, on Australian stock horses. You're riding on beaches like this where, you know, dolphins nearly swim between your horse's legs. And yeah, they have a 5-day ride. They have a 4-day ride. It is also, very popular. We moved to New Zealand, which is our River Valley ride. Love this. It is very natural horsemanship, which I think will, appeal to a lot of you. Mix of Western and Australian stock saddles. And it's intermediate to advanced. They have a 5-day ride. And then if you're really wanting to delve deep and get into a rhythm of a ride, they have the 8-day ride. And they're available November to April. And then our Twin Coast Adventure in New Zealand also use a mix of Western saddles. And it's intermediate to advanced, and it's in the Bay of Islands in the northern part of New Zealand. And again, beach riding, which I know all of you have, that's a fan favorite, beach riding, available November to April. Really good price as well. So I recommend, if you are coming from the US or further afield, if you are choosing Australia or New Zealand, to try and team up 2 rides. A lot of our clients do that just because it's a long way for you guys to come. And we can help you with that. So these rides all run at the same time, summer in Australia. So we can definitely, bookend 2 rides together if that's what you're thinking of doing. And then South Africa. This is so Africa we'd had for a long time, didn't have a ride available for beginners. And our motto here is that every rider belongs. So we want rides for every experience level. The bushveld ride in South Africa is perfect for that. So it's beginner to advanced, but it's in stock saddles, which I'll show you a picture of. They're called the McClellan stock saddle, and it's very similar to our Australian stock saddle. Open all year round, very well priced, easy to get to Joburg, and then they pick you up from the airport. You'll be doing this, riding with, giraffe, zebra. It's stunning, and it's a lodge-based ride as well. So very, user-friendly, and that's the saddle that you ride in. So super comfy as well, especially with that seat saver. So there you have it. If you love Western riding, the world is your oyster. We're always road testing new rides. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So, does anyone have any questions? Yeah. Thank you, Catherine. So Catherine's got a really good question. I've done my own horse holidays, but never through Globetrotting. I'm wondering how you prioritize safety in the destinations, not necessarily safety for riders and horses during rides, but during changing geopolitical issues. Yeah, really good question. So a lot of our rides in those more sensitive areas, you are picked up from the airport, and we stay in areas like, for example, Kenya. You will be picked up from the airport and you will be taken to a suburb. So you're not staying in central Nairobi. Same with like Johannesburg in South Africa. You will be picked up from the airport. So there's your name on the card, and you will be taken to, generally you're taken, either you have one night in a capital city or you don't, and you're out in the bush on a ride. So it's up to your comfort level. If you don't want to stay in capital cities, that's okay, because that's generally if there is, unrest. And then you're in the bush with your horse, and, whatever else is happening is, you're cocooned in the safety of being in the bush with your horse. I hope I've answered that correctly. But if you're nervous about that, we would just be looking at different rides that you would choose that, aren't as, I can't think of the word because I've only had one coffee, sorry. But yes, good question. The other thing, Catherine, is obviously, the benefit of booking with us is our impartial advice, and that we've road tested all of the rides firsthand. Like, that is the foundation to Globetrotting. So yes, you can definitely go and find all your own rides on the internet, but you don't know what you're actually getting until you get there. So we've taken the time, resources to road test rides, and then a lot of the time we don't work with the ride partners that we've road tested because they're just not up to our standards. So there's a very high standard that we have in place before we recommend rides. What breed of horses on the US ranches? Thanks, James. They're generally quarter horses. Some Mustangs, which is really cool. I love riding the native horses of the region, but generally quarter horses. Do you need to confirm reining? Do you need to confirm reining ability or experience before a ride? I just leaning to ride in an English saddle and reining, but have riding Western with neck reining. Nancy, yeah, good question. I'm just learning to ride an English saddle. Okay, so I think, Nancy, what you're saying is you ride Western and now you're learning to ride English. Which is great because there's a lot of English rides that we have. It will depend on the ride that you choose. For example, you wouldn't choose the Scottish Borders ride or, say, Sicily or the ride in Namibia, because you have to be an expert rider of English to do that ride. But there would be like Castle and Estate ride in Ireland would be perfect if you're learning English and want to, upskill your English riding ability, or the Borders Riding Academy in Scotland would be also perfect. I hope I've answered that question properly. Good question, Martha. This is such a good question, guys. I'm going over my 20 minutes. I hope that's okay. Level of fitness required. Are we saddling up ourselves? That depends on the ride, Martha. So there's a bit of nuance. Obviously, it's not a yes or no for all these rides. First of all, are we saddling up ourselves? Depends on the ride. Like, for example, Bighorn Cattle Drive, which is very hands-on, you are saddling it up. And I know those Western saddles are super heavy. But then, for example, Tuscany, Italy, you don't have to saddle up yourself. So it depends on the insurance and what the ride partner prefers. Level of fitness required, again, generally when you're ranch-based or lodge-based, the level of fitness is not a huge requirement. But if you're riding from point A, point B, so you have to ride from one destination to the next, you have to move on. So there's a certain amount of kilometers that you have to cover to get to your place where you're staying that night. So that depends. But again, level of fitness is generally, we'll be able to tell you. So you tell us what ride you're looking at, and then we'll be able to, and your level of fitness, and we'll be able to say if it's a tick or not. Catherine, another question. I've only rode Western, never had much on English saddle. That is why I'm seeking Western holidays. However, I'm open to English. What are your views of how easily Western, sorry, Catherine, it just skipped. What are your views of how easily a Western rider could pick up English? Great question. It depends on you as a rider. So the difference mainly is the saddle. There is no horn. You're very much in the open. You need to be able to post to the trot. You need to do 2-point canter in an English saddle, when a lot of the times in a Western saddle, you sit to canter and you can sit the trot. So again, my answer would be, if you're wanting to sort of upskill in your English style, we have some really good rides in Ireland and in Scotland where you could do that. So you would ride English, but it's in a very supportive environment, rather than sort of just, throwing yourself in the deep end. Hope that makes sense, Catherine. I'm really keen. I think we need to have more of a discussion. Okay, wait. Amanda, yeah, we did have an amazing ride in Queensland. But no, that ride partner, he's retired. So we've got another ride coming in Northern Territory, which is very exciting. We're going to tell you guys because you're on the webinar. We're launching that next week. I've been horrified before at the health and conditions of the horses at places I've visited. I assume part of your due diligence is to ensure the facility prioritizes horse health and safety. Goosebumps, Catherine. That is massive for us. Horse welfare is a pillar to our business. That is, zero tolerance for horses that aren't well looked after on our rides. Absolutely zero tolerance, even if they're in developing countries. And I know that, when people aren't getting fed, horses are down the priority line of that. That is not okay with our rides. All of our horses have to be looked after the whole time. So that has been checked. That has been checked as part of our quality assurance. As I said, we firsthand experience the rides regularly. So you would not be put on a lame horse or a horse with a girth ball or anything like that. It is a zero tolerance. I hope that makes sense to you. What insurance provider do you recommend that is best for a riding holiday? Good question, Laurie. Depending where you're based, but we have Rowie will put a link in the notes about our travel insurance companies, and we have specific ones that specifically cover horse riding holidays. Is there clothing requirement? Yep. Helmet, breeches. Yes. Nancy, absolutely. So what happens? You book a ride, you sign up for your payment plan, and then you get sent a trip prep kit, which is your Bible. So we will send you a packing list, and we literally hold your hand until you get on the ride. And then our ride partners look after you, and then we hold your hand when you get off to try and find your rebound ride. So yes, all that information of what to pack, because each riding holiday is really important in terms of what to pack. Sorry, I'm keeping up. US based, Laurie. So yeah, Battleface is our travel insurance company that we recommend that you use in America. Yeah, Jill, there will be more Amber Marshall rides. She's addicted. Warwick Schiller, we've got him hook, line, and sinker. He's going to be doing some more rides of ours as well. Horses in Tuscany are quarter horses, and the Marima. I think that maybe Rory might have answered that, which is a native horse breed in Italy, in Tuscany, in that area. How cool is that? What would be your top 3 recommendations? Of these rides? Too hard to answer. It depends. Well, Argentina is one of my most favorite ride destinations because it's horse culture rich, which is just exactly what I need, and really cool change of scenery. But yeah, Alison, one of the easiest rides. Where are you based, Alison? Let me know where you're based, and then I can recommend an easy ride that is near you. UK. Okay, so yeah, definitely the Dartmoor ride that I mentioned, or the ride in Ireland, Castle and Estate ride. This ride, it sells out for us. We sell huge amount of saddle seats to that ride in Ireland, and it is excellent, Alison. So we can hook you up there. Is there any Western saddle rides in Scotland, Ireland? No, there isn't. Sorry. All the rides. I'm always afraid booking rides where the horses may not be cared for. Yeah. So anonymous attendee, we hand on heart road test all our rides. Like, that is foundational to why I set up this business, is that we road test them, we experience them. And I think I mentioned before, we have often a lot of ride partners haven't passed and we haven't offered them. So yeah. Okay, one more question, guys. Sorry. Yes, Laurie, definitely the Castle and Estate ride there. You can definitely just do happy hacking. Like, you're riding in like Robin Hood forests. It's beautiful. It's what we call an entry level ride. The Castle and Estate ride is an entry level ride, which is perfect. You dip your toe into what a horse riding holiday is in a really soft environment. Oh, Alison, sunshine as well. Alison, we are actually going to road test a ride in Spain and in France that's beginner. So, or not, I know you haven't ridden in ages, but you know, that are returning to the saddle. So stay tuned for that. But I'm pretty sure that also Amy might be able to suggest one for you offline. Thanks, Amy. Beautiful. Yeah. Thanks so much, all of you. I think I've answered everyone. Oh, Laurie, do we? No, but we work really hard on making sure that we get dates sooner rather than later so that you guys can pay them off. But Laurie, if you just put notify me of future dates on the website on that specific ride page, you'll get notified as soon as those 2027 dates come out. All right, I think we're good. Thank you guys. Lots of love.